In the last video, I took a gamble on an $800 E36. I looked at all the parts and convinced myself I could get it back together. So in this video, I'm gonna see if I can get it running. And in the last video, I left off with buttoning up the coolant system in the radiator. That's where I'll pick back up. There are a few bits I need off the old radiator, like these clips, so I'm going to take them now. And I actually think they go right here and right here. And I'm pretty certain one goes on the bottom. You can't see it, but there's something similar to this on the bottom, and I only have one. All right, so got the coolant hoses hooked up, got the top of the fan shroud connected, got these nuts and bolts. I have some nuts that go there and some bolts that go, I believe, there, and knock that out. So now I'm just convincing myself that I know where everything goes. This thing's starting to look like a car again. Next time I'm in the little storage unit, I'll have coolant and I'm gonna try and start it. But there's lots of little things this car needs. Like the clip on this is messed up. There's a little plastic connection. I'm sure it's an emissions connection. It's somewhere down there. It's cracked, but really that is it. So yeah, I'm gonna try and start this thing. Oh yeah, and that little plug is going to get replaced by this sensor. The plan was trying to get this thing started tonight, but I forgot my big wrench at the house. But what I can do is replace this tube that goes from the intake manifold to the brake booster. I'm going to replace it. It's a bit cracked right there. So I'm going to replace it. I bought some other clamps. And then we'll see if I can... Dadgummit. Yeah, well, I can do everything but replace the coolant temperature sensor that mounts onto the radiator. I have this little bin of hose clamps that I got. They're cheap, but I've used it to store hose clamps over the years. And a long time ago, I had an E30. Check that out. These are actually BMW hose clamps. I don't know if the GoPro will focus, but those are BMW hose clamps. So I'm going to use these on this tubing. As it turns out, those hose clamps might not work. Well, one will, the others won't. But I can put this on and put a hose clamp on it later. Damn, that's hard to get in there. A little bit of oil helped a lot. I was able to slide it right in. I'll get some hose clamps for those later. But I would definitely need a hose clamp on this. So this sensor goes in here like this, apparently. It is kind of crusty. I hope it seals. So now I see how the overflow tank mounts. I believe it goes like this, and this clips in right here somehow, and then a plug goes in here. So now I know where that hose goes, but I gotta figure out how to route it. That hose on the left of the larger hole there needs to somehow come up that little slot. So I'm going to play with that and come back. BMW has to have some of the most complicated coolant hose routing there is. So that hose goes in that opening on the fan shroud and then snakes its way all the way over and comes up right there. That's crazy. So that's what I'm tasked with. I have to get this tubing in that hole and over to the other side. Lots of fun. If I were more clever, I would have seen that the hose goes in right here, held right here, and comes out up here. I don't know how I missed that. This is like reaching around your head to scratch your nose. All right, let's see if I can get this back on there. Thankfully, it wants to go back on. Sometimes these hoses fight you. All right, it's back on there. Now I just got to tighten down the clamp. So now it's too big to go back in. I have to reposition how I did the clamp. So apparently the hose clamp has to be positioned like that in order for everything to fit back right. All right, so I think I got it on there. So I still have access to that. And let's see, what does this got? So I guess this just locates it and kind of keeps it in, I guess. I'm gonna see if there's a store nearby because all I need is an adjustable wrench or a bigger socket, and I can put everything on it and throw some coolant in this bad boy. Where is the... And I should have known better. I just got fooled. This also routes behind the dadgum fan shroud. So I gotta take this back off and route this through. When it's your first time working on a car, these are the little details that irk you. But once you learn it, you never forget it because it's a pain to backtrack. That hose was fun to get back on, but now I am back where I was. There's no need to hide that hose like that. But I guess the Germans have their own way of doing things. And I need to get a manual. And it seems like this one is the plug that goes in here. Yes, it is. So I didn't get to start it tonight, but I did get it back together, save that one little sensor slash plug. I still don't know what all these go to, but they probably go to that. But anyway, when I start it and something leaks or something rears its ugly head, I'll know that I missed a part. I was prepared to jump it, but since I can't start it tonight anyway, I'm going to take the battery and charge it because I got in there, turned the key, nothing happened. So I'm going to take the battery home, charge it. If I need a new one, I'll get it, but that should help when it's time to start it. Tonight, hopefully it'll be the night I start the E36. I'm excited. I brought an adjustable wrench so I can get this off, put the sensor in, and plug everything up. Also tighten the little sensor on the bottom of here a little bit because it's only hand tight now. And the sensor, plug it right up. Hope that's tight enough. Where's that little plug hiding? Ah, right here. All right, time to fill her up. But first I gotta put the battery in. What is that down there? Ooh, I don't know if that's acid or water. I don't have any rags. Let me go check my car. Looks a little wet down there. Hope that's not pointing to a bigger issue, but I will investigate. It's not water. Unfortunately and fortunately, I guess. Because the other battery was swollen a bit when I finally looked at it, and it did not take a charge. So I'm gonna have to make sure I clean this up real good. I want that to be on there a bit better than that, but I guess that'll have to do for now. When I get this to my house, I'll sort it out better. I guess someone left the hazards on. That's not good. So according to the Bentley manual, all the way to heat. I don't know if these matter. And apparently the washer fluid's low too. But yeah, everything came on. Let's put some water in this bad boy. I'm gonna start off with just water because I don't know if it leaks anywhere else. I know I have a new radiator on, but I'm gonna have to trust my man when he said it was just the radiator. So I'm gonna fill it up until no more bubbles come out this little hole right here. Wow, listen, you can hear the air coming out this hole. That's crazy. And look at that. Water is coming out from somewhere, and I have to find it. It's not the radiator, because it's brand new. Maybe it's that crossover pipe, because that could be where it's coming from. I'm glad I started with only water. All right, so it's not the big pipe. And it's not leaking from the bottom of the tank. I bet you it's that tube. So nothing over here looks wet. but it is very hard to see that tube with this shroud on. So I pulled this down, and yeah, so the water looks like it's coming from where that tube lives. So I'm gonna dig in and see what that is. I did not bring any jack stands over here. Let's see what I can do. So all the stuff that I just did has to come back out. I'm tempted to just order all new tubing at this point, but I'm gonna try and take the radiator, the shroud, the tank, this tubing, and the other tubing all out at once. But that means taking off at least some of the intake so that I can get to it. Let's see if it all will come out together. It doesn't look like it will all come out together, but maybe the shroud bits will come out together. So I'm going to separate the shroud and the radiator. Well, I basically did it the same way I did before, the reversive install, but I left the tubing in, and now I can do some troubleshooting. So I got the shroud, the tank, the overflow hose all out here together, and I plugged up the bottom here. So I'm gonna put water on this and see where it actually leaks from. And I'm not seeing a leak. Let me sit it over here over the top. It doesn't leak out. I'm not seeing the leak. Okay, now I'm seeing a leak. Right here. So the tube is good, but it was pulling up in the lip on the shroud. So I played out here with this thing for a little bit, and as it turns out, I just didn't have that clamped well. So I am going to try and reinstall it and see if I don't have any leaks. I don't have enough water, but at least I'll get a good idea as to if any tubing is leaking. Okay, coolant fill round 2. I'm gonna start filling it up, and if it starts to leak, I'm going home. But if it doesn't, I'm gonna put as much in as I can and maybe try and start it. So I have the coolant lines all hooked up, but I didn't finish hooking up everything else. So let's see. So far, so good. So I think I'm doing all right. Let me check underneath. I think I'm good. So I'm gonna keep going. So I have some drips now, but that's just because it's overflowing and there's a mixture of air and water coming out of the bleed hole. And I'm still getting air, so I'm gonna keep going. All right, I think that's good enough for me to try. So my battery's almost dead. One last check. There is oil in it, and it doesn't even look that bad. Let's see if we can start it. All right, so my GoPro died, but I am just itching to get this thing going. All right, let's see. All right, let's try again. It looks like it's sat since August. Oh, come on. It's getting there. All right, let's keep trying. All right, I think we're getting close. Oh God, so close. Come on, buddy. It's running, but it's running rough. All right, let me see if I can take my foot off the gas and get it to idle. Come on, you know you want to idle. Come on. Come on. Got the heat all the way. All right, come on, come on. It's a rough idle. All right, let's get outside and check some stuff. All right, it's running pretty smooth. And so far, nothing's dripping. Well, it's running. It took some work, but the engine actually sounds really good. Sounds way better than my B-Swap Civic. So I'm gonna clean up a little bit and let it get up to temperature. Yeah, I'll say tonight was a success. Took way longer than I wanted though. So the coolant temperature is looking good, but I'm not getting heat out the vents. And I think I have everything set right. I mean, that's all the way hot. That's all the way hot. AC is off. 218,000 miles, has fuel. Blinkers seem to work. Can't see the brakes from inside. I'm sitting here to keep an eye on the coolant temperature. Man, these inline sixes are smooth. I miss my E30. Let's see this last back one. Does it work? It does. Nice. So the vents are starting to heat up. Not hot, but getting warmer. So I think things are looking good. All right, I'll say that's a good night. Even though things didn't go exactly as I wanted, the goal was to get it started, and I did. So I'm going to bed. If you would like to follow along as I turn this $800 E36 into a daily driver, hit subscribe. If you'd like to see what got me to this point, check out the previous video and the playlist. Thanks for watching. Take care.